Hey everyone, Chris Roma here with Cardistry Practice, week number 4. I was thinking about calling them episodes because I'm not going to really stick with weeks, but I also want to stick with time because I'm a little bit off on I don't upload on the exact same day or record this video on, more importantly, on the same day. So it really should be by episode, but I'm trying to keep it about weekly. So we're at about a month. It's been actually a little bit over than a month. Today I'm going to be using the Bicycle Metal deck. This is my absolute favorite deck that I've used so far and played with so far. It's the only deck that has the magic finish, so I'm not sure if that has something to do with it. But I love this deck so much I went ahead and bought 2 more. One that I'm hoping to keep these unopened, but you know, if these get beat up enough I might open these again because these seem like your normal, I mean $15 a deck is a little bit pricey, but if I'm going to use them a lot and I really like them, it might be worth it. These guys were the original metal deck. This is the blue version, it came out afterwards. These guys, they only made 500 or 5,500 of them. So I have 2 decks, and these probably will never get opened, unfortunately, even though I think these guys are even more beautiful than these guys, and they probably play and feel about the same. But that's it, enough for that. Let's get on with the cardistry practice. So these cards are just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And one of my favorite things about these cards is I've been using these for about a week, playing with them. They've hit the floor multiple times. They've hit the floor in my garage. I've been springing them. I've been, you know, bending them up, trying to look this whole lapel spread or whatever it's called. I haven't even gotten anywhere near close to that yet. But you know what I mean. I've been playing with it, and I can still thumb fan it fairly well. Even though it's been played with, it's not even close to a new deck anymore. So I love that. I don't know if that has something to do with the magic finish or not, but it does still fan fairly well after being played with. Just one of the reasons I love it, other than the amazing looking, I mean the cards, you just see how gorgeous they are. Look at the jokers, beautiful. But anyways, so this video is about the Sybil cut and the Werm. So let's start with the Sybil cut. I've been practicing the Werm a little bit more than the Sybil cut, but I've known the Sybil cut longer. So with the Sybil cut, I've learned is to try to cut this first packet kind of thin. So when you cut that nice and thin, second packet thin, and then you want to leave this third packet here a little thicker. So I kind of cut them even. So if you want to, that's probably good if you can do that every time. Obviously I can't yet, but that's good, and the reason is so you can keep going with it. But once you cut it like this, you can drop this packet down, and then all the work is basically with these middle 2 packets for a little while, and you basically just switch and switch. And again, I'm your peer here, I'm not your teacher, so you can go watch a video who's going to give you a better tutorial on this. I recommend ECAT or 52 Cards or Chris Ramsey, as I'm sure you guys know that already though. But ECAT has been one of my favorites. She's been doing some really good videos. But all I'm doing here is I'm keep splitting that final pile, playing with these middle 2, and then you could eventually end it. So that's where I am with the Sybil cut, but I guess I'll give a little tutorial for those who haven't seen it. But if you want a better one, go check out those guys. So open these up, leave this one a little thicker if you can. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to rotate my hands down here so that I could use these fingers to grab this packet. And once you grab that packet and you have this packet grabbed, you can rotate this up and around to bring this packet up around the back of here. And then you could use your pinky and your middle finger to basically grab that, pull it back around, come around here, use your index and your thumb to grab this one, and then you're back. Once you fold this down, you're kind of back to where you started. You could drop that bottom packet, split off another packet here, and keep going with the cut. You can keep doing that until you run out of cards in this top packet here. I'm just going to stop right there, but you get the point. So that's where we're at with the civil cut after about a month. As you can see, that's from week 1, this Charlier cut or whatever. I could pretty much do the double, triple, try to do it thin and just keep cutting it. The rotation I'm definitely getting much more smooth with. I could do it like in extreme slow motion, so I have full control of the cards as I lose them. But that's just because this deck is amazingly, even after you play with it, it's still nice and slippery, which I like. I really like that a lot. But let's try that again. Also, I'm standing at my bar, so my hands are a little bit higher than I'm normally used to holding them, so it's a little bit awkward. Also trying to keep it in camera. But let's get on to the worm. So so basically the civil cut, that was after 2 weeks of practice with the civil cut, and other than that, it was basically just one-handed cuts that I've learned. So here's the worm after 1 week of practice, and something I've learned about the worm, at least at the beginning when starting, for me, is you want to start with wet index finger here and a wet thumb here, because at some point during here you're going to have to grab this card and grab a card from underneath with that thumb. But the way most tutorials have said to do it, and I'm just going to start this way, but this isn't how I've been practicing because I think I found an easier way. But but basically you cut it into your Z or your N or whatever you want to call it. You rotate it out, and then most tutorials say at this point, very light touch, bring this card over. But you see how I brought some of those cards with me? But anyway, just keep that aware. Now you do your little wiggle, and then you use your thumb back here to grab this bottom card. You pull that out, hook it with your pinky and your thumb, and then from here you could pull out the spread of the worm, and you want to get that as far out as possible. I'm trying to go end to end. Oh, I lost it. But basically you would close that up there, close this up, close that up, and swing that around to close it down. We'll do it again though, and I'll show you the way I think that's a little bit easier that I've been doing it, is before I even break it into N and rotate down like that to get the worm going, is I'll break this card off and kind of break it across my thumb here. So normally I can break it right across so it's already broken, so then when I spin out, it's already there. I don't got to worry about messing with it. I could just worry about this back card here, bringing that out just to grab it to spread. So that's basically, I like to cut that card first, but then to close it, I rotate this back up, close that back up, close that up, and find that. So but one more time, I like to break this card off first, and you could even square this back up if you want after that. But once that's broke off, you go into Z, rotate down, grab this with the pinky and middle finger, give it a little wiggle, 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 and use your thumb from the back here to pull this card. As you pull it, you could hook it onto you kind of push in here, so you get this type of pattern where you're just holding all the cards like that. And then you could grab with your thumb here from this top packet, and your index here kind of holds this, and then as you pull it away with both hands, you hold this middle card with tension, but then you also cock out your thumb as far as you can and let this card kind of slide out and around as far as you can without dropping it, of course. So that's the worm. The worm after about a week and a half. But let's see, now my finger's drying up. See, when your finger's dry, from here, when you try to pull this card out, this is the reason why I try to break it off first, is because from here, your thumb's kind of flat. You can see like the fat on my thumb is kind of flat, and I could grab it with much less pressure, so I could really get that real light touch to bring it around. Whereas if I already break it into N, now my thumb's already holding some cards, and now I'm going to try to break this thumb fat over here by pulling this card around, but I kind of, as you can see, I normally would hold it like this, but to pull this card around here, I'm gonna have to bend my thumb down to kind of clear my thumb fat to bring that over, which is much harder, for me at least, than to just break it off at the beginning, and then you're already clear and you can just focus on getting that worm done. So, little tip from me. That's cardistry practice week 2. That's all I've been working on is that. I've been trying to get my scissor cut a little bit smoother, so it's not as doesn't look like as I'm reaching and peeling as much. And I've been definitely working on my rotation cut, trying to get that better. So rotation cut was week 1. Charlier cut was week 1. The double Charlier, ooh, I went real thick with that, but double Charlier was week 1. Scissor cut was week 2. Thumb fan was week 3. And like I said, I'm very impressed with this deck for thumb fans after being played with for a while. I mean, that's horrible, don't get me wrong. I'm happy with it for after a month of cardistry, but most of you are looking at that probably saying, hey, that's horrible. But for me, after a month of cardistry with a brand new deck, I could get it pretty nice. But this is the only deck that I've been playing with that actually would even remotely, like, even comes close to fanning well. Anyways, stay tuned, guys. I'm not sure what's on the docket for next week. Forgot about the spring was in there somewhere. I think week 1. But I'm not sure what's on the docket for next week. I'm gonna have to look up another cut to learn. I'm probably gonna keep working on the worm and the Sybil cut. Maybe I'll do the 5 faces of Sybil. We'll see if I could break that out. Other than that, guys, have a great day. Enjoy it.